Hello, it's Yucheng again. Hello, Yucheng. How are you doing?
There you are. Yeah, very well. Thanks.
Do it in public. You have nothing to hide. Start using the internet. Join
I'm
the
really
riot.
glad to see you again. So let's do something exciting today.
Cool. Yeah, so today is kind of special call as we announced with Nano that we're collecting the $50K round, and Yucheng was one of the first to respond and soft commit to it, but there is no any rules, any details on it. So it's really soft commit, and the reason why we met with Cenk is to brainstorm how we could potentially use this money, what would make sense for makers, what would make sense for investors. I'll share something that I learned during these few days, not much, but probably it will help. And yeah, share any doubts or any like inconvenient questions, because that's what we'll need to answer anyway.
Absolutely. I love questions too. So yeah,
I,
let's start.
so let's probably I'll share. So if somebody will see it,
Mhm.
let me share the screen. So that's what the original announcement. So what we're saying, like invest in decision makers and define the future of Nano Fund. Minimum commitment is $1,000, and the round that we're collecting is 50K. And requirements to investors: building public and being decent. Basically, the same requirements that we have for makers. And the main thing here is once we get this amount in commits, the plan was to meet and discuss publicly how we distribute the funds. So basically, we're meeting with Yucheng earlier to figure out if it makes sense, or we'll I don't know, we'll need to change it completely, or should we change something slightly. So any idea is welcome. So there is no rules defined yet.
Yeah.
Let me see what's inside. So inside we only have like this forum and video form. So thank you, Cheng, for completing the video. We'll also like show them. So it's also cool that you recorded them. And I'm talking a bit about Nano just for strangers who never heard about it. But I guess it's all confusing because not only Yucheng but other people are asking questions. So let's discuss Yucheng. Well, what is your first question?
Because I'm feeling like I'm wearing several different hats.
Mhm.
So okay, let me ask from investors' perspective,
Yeah.
how can I benefit from this project, right? So if I rent, for example, if you raise, it's a good first step. It's a good small experiment. So I'd like to be part of it, regardless whether we can make some multiple X return from it. Totally fine. I think it's either way, it's worth the effort to do some early experiments. But again, this question is important. If I put some money in this pool, how can we benefit from it, and also the time range, right? So for example, yesterday someone posted saying, is it like 12 months? There's no way it's 12 months. Like it's too for building public indie hacker project, 12 months is like, if you cannot get some validation in the first month and get some revenue in the second month, it's just quite dangerous. It doesn't sound right to me. So I'm expecting the pace to be super fast. So meaning what the expectation regarding what rewards or return we can get from this as an investor, and also during what time range, time window.
Yeah, I like a question. I like that you mentioned this. So I think we'll have a really great conversation. So just to clarify, like what's happening here. So we're not a fund. I know nothing about investments. So I mean, I know something. Like we did deals, like we signed safes and so on. But I'm not an investor, and I think you understand this, and you should understand this. So what
Yeah,
I'm
just sorry to interrupt. I'm not a expert either. Like it's
yes,
just my
yes.
hobby. So none of us are expert here. So again, if anyone who maybe watched this video, if we made some obvious mistake or say something stupid, let us know. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So the reason why I'm saying it, so I don't have answers, and it's cool that like you understand this. So we're in the same position. So what I'm trying to do, like we try to do, is to find like people like you that feel that there is something in it, and just to figure out how we can learn together. So for example, you said we are not like investors, neither you and me. Probably your requirement will be, I want to have really like someone who invested in round. So I'll go and find them. And like my role right now is basically I'm just organizing it for nothing, because I'm interested to learn and meet great people and build this community around. And if I am able to raise this round for even for nothing for Nano, like we can earn zero from this, like it shows that the next round can be bigger, and we can introduce some rules like that will make sense again to community, because we will ask community a lot like about the rules. Yes, that's the goal, to brainstorm and study in public and show that it's possible. And I'm starting from it. And what I was doing yesterday and today, I was asking like different questions around this like investment. Like if you ever want to invest, how much would you invest in what? It didn't work well, but by the way, it's Yucheng again here. Here's something that works. So it's, you can see we have 28 comments here. So it was the first, like if you, my first question would be, if it's 50K in one investment, would anyone want this 50K to invest it in their product? Because people expect like these pre-seed funds, like VC funds, to invest, I don't know, at least 250 or 150 K or 500K. But what I think is that even 50K is a big investment, so probably we should make it smaller. So what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to find people who are really interested and who are trying to get this investment. And I can show there is some good examples here.
Yeah. Quick question. Is this 50K for one project? Or like how many projects we are putting these?
So that's we can discuss like how you see it, but now I think that's it's probably not for one. It's better for few. Okay, so let me tell you. That's what was my process. So I researched a bit here in Twitter. I also I will go outside of Twitter a lot, because I want to see other audiences. And today I posted to Reddit. So it's I don't know if it's a good response or not. So it's not very liked, but there is a lot of comments. So I discussed a lot with people, and so here people on Reddit, they are not well aware about indie hacking. So it's something that we'll need to teach. So what I came up to is what if and also to clarify, we had this in my cohort of founders. So we already work with 20 founders. So we saw some products. And so what I saw there, so a lot of people who want to launch their products, they are like you, Yucheng. So they basically want to leave their job. They already launched something, generated something, but they understand they need, I don't know, like 4 months for this, and they need cash for this. So what if we, as a fund, we basically replace their salary, but salary will be given in exchange to equity? Yeah. Let me a specific example. Go ahead. I also run it through my friend who is running a service agency like an hour ago. So he saw something in it. So let's say the investment is 20K, and you said like there is a good. So we need to discuss the timeline. So what do you think will be this valuable timeline you mentioned? Is it like 4 months is good or not? On the first
let's say quarter, right? 3 months.
3 months. Okay, 3 months. So let's say okay, and we ask them what basically salary, what minimum cash amount do you need to exist? I don't know. So it's not like what amount of money do you need to hire 100 people, but basically how to sustain you so you can show the results, and what will be this amount of money. So some will say like, I don't know, like few thousands per month, right? Some will need more. And basically when we'll see it, let's say for 3 months, it's 10K. So that's where we can say like, okay, what you can deliver in these 3 months that can, I don't know, like compensate this investment. I think that's interesting way, because we can go to people who mostly ready to leave their job, who like build some product that already generates something, And how
Okay, yeah. Let me share some of my thoughts, my opinions. It might be a little bit different. So
Yeah, and
first,
if anything
I
is bullshit, just say it's bullshit. So,
no, I don't think it's yeah. So nothing's bullshit here because we are literally exploring something no one has done that before. So maybe I'm bullshitting, but again, let's just put everything on the table. I first, I don't want to take equity from the indie project, but in return, or from an investor's perspective, I don't pay you salary. Why? Let me explain my mindset here. So regardless of whether you are quitting your full-time job to build something for your own, you are building something for your own. I'm not taking a share from your baby. You are building something you fully own 100%. But if you want to raise this baby to make it like grow up, be more sustainable, you need some support. So I want to take revenue share. I don't want to take equity share because honestly speaking, for a lot of indie hacker projects, I don't even know what equity means. It's like if it's we are not trying to exit from it or raise another round and get a higher evaluation, then we step into the traditional VC area.
right.
I don't know what's the point of having equity in this case.
Right.
So again, this is just my personal opinion. Oh, I don't know if it's gonna work, but what I'm gonna do is I won't pay you salary because you are building something for you. You're not building something for me. But we're gonna sponsor you. In return, we are getting the revenue share for maybe not for the rest of your life, but we can define like, for example, there's a decreasing percentage of the revenue share. Maybe for the first half year, we take a bigger share because you're still growing, right? So and then we gradually decrease our share from the revenue. But this is like de-risking ourselves from because in the beginning, if we pay the salary for the indie hackers to build something they own 100%, it just doesn't feel right to me because I don't own you, I don't owe you all this. But again, this might be wrong because a lot of indie hackers, I want them to be working full time, but they need something to live a life, right? They need to buy food or have a place to stay. So totally understand. So I believe there might be something about some balance point here.
Yeah, it makes total sense, and it was actually one of the comments from the tweets that I showed to you from successful startup. So they received an investment, and that's what I asked them. Like, and so what's your goal? Like, do they push you to exit, or like do you profit share with them? So it's also interesting, like to talk like revenue versus profit share, because revenue always like shows different numbers. Yeah, but it makes total sense. In terms of equity, I agree with you that it does make a lot of sense if we are not targeting some challenge like to sell. Like the challenge can be build a product and sell on microacquire in 3 months. So in this case, I think it makes sense. But it's more
We
like
can
3% percent
So-
of exit. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a little bit jumping into the rabbit hole, but like for example, we can let's not call it a founding of fund. I know it's called nano fund, but let's say if we have a bigger coverage of the scope of what we want to do, right? We can literally build a platform that also covers the selling part. We just charge some commission fee, like 3%, for example. If this SaaS product was sold for 1 million, it would take 30K, right? Something like that. But we help them we guide them if the indie hackers really want to sell their product. Maybe not like a million level, like even like 100K level. I think it's relatively achievable for a lot of great indie hackers for the first year or two. We can help them to first speed up the process, helping them to do all those proper marketing. But this marketing is not for gaining more customer, but marketing for selling a product for the potential buyer for the product. And in return, we kind of get some commission fee, just like selling a house. I'm not sure it's an exciting business for you, but it's like you help people to, decorate their house, clean up their house, organize their house, take some good pictures, and put it on the market and charge as agent fee, like 3%, for example. And yeah, make it more scalable for sure. So this is what I'm thinking. There are a lot of opportunities we can cover instead of just founding them. Yeah, but again, yeah, I have been talking, so.
No, you should you should be talking because you will see everything material. But I like it. Commission will work too. I know it because I think like the core should be always like that. We should deliver some value. I mean, as Nana, so our commit in this case will be the same, like to grow, to lead to the exit, like whatever we discuss. Okay, yeah, but it's cool. So basically, as we have this trend for multiple products per indie hacker, probably like it should be multiple options. So probably one product you do and grow in revenue, another product you want to try to, I don't know, to sell in 6 months. So
Yeah.
it all makes sense. But
also, again, sorry for keep dumping things on table, but yeah, I think you have established a real good start point using Momentum, right? So right now, Momentum is the landing page, but let's think bigger. What if Momentum provides all the necessary services for indie hackers to start gaining revenue, right? So let's say if platform provides you very easy to use whatever APIs or backend dashboard or whatsoever it is to, for example, right now it's like getting waitlist, landing page, some stream of messages. And then let's say, what if we add or connect some user logging system, we connect some payment system. We give you, instead of redirect you to the Stripe or Lemon Squeezy, we just built some of our own lightweighted wrapper of those third-party APIs, but we kind of baked in the revenue share mechanism for all the entities, all the parties here, right? So the maker, the founder, the platform, the platform to take a commission. But like this is more thinking from, this is like where I'm wearing my engineer hat. I'm thinking about building things like to make so everyone can kind of live on top of this platform and kickstart their first product that can get paid very fast on top of Momentum, right? So right now Momentum is landing page, but it can be much bigger than that. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and I will show you something regarding this. And I love that you understand this part, and that's because you already used Momentum. And by the way, I want to release this new page, Nano, and I'll definitely showcase like your stories there because it's definitely like something to take as an example. But let me show you, like for you just to explain where Momentum is heading. Like it's not moving fast recently, but let me show you the vision. Did you saw these pages?
Yeah, I've seen this.
So probably it will be easier to understand. So that's how I'm trying to explain like how to build products. Like, and I come up with this like folder and file concept. I think it will be easiest really for people, but it's still like weird. But let me explain what's going on here.
Okay.
So basically, your startup is a directory of content files, different content files, and like people used to think that Yosa Us is the only like content that you built in startup, but it's not. Like it's like website, it's your blog, it's newsletter, it's your social media, it's support articles for users, it's your design and brand files, it's your features. So it's like SaaS, it's your micro products, it's outside features. Even analytics and databases is your like pieces of content, so it's pretty abstract here. But I already built some concept here, and like so it will be called like file system on Momentum. And you can see I only started working it, but you can see that like I already have here a website for Momentum itself. So I'm zooming.
Quick question. Can I ask a quick? I fully follow you. I basically understand what you're doing after I watched this on the first page. So I'm on the same page. I can totally understand what you're trying to do here. Just one quick question. Who is basically right now, who is funding you for Momentum? Is Parallel funding you, or or are you self-funding, or what's the current status of this Momentum project?
Yeah, so it's product funded because I'm spending like my time, like people from product are spending their time. So it's
Okay.
yeah, it's not separated in the like separate entity like that we can like
I see.
tell. But yeah, it's like built. It was built mostly by me, but then like we added more people, but they are from product, right?
What if we use NanoFund to fund Momentum?
That would be cool. I mean, so I believe that it's really huge. So I'm trying to keep it away, but why not? If you probably you know it better than me because you use it and you see the potential. But just to wrap it up, just to what you
Yeah.
were saying. So for now, when you create a landing page, what you actually create, it's like a website page. It's like the first what you create, but you also create in the first newsletter.
Yes.
You also create in the first design file. I mean, like your image, it's your first design file. You
social
create
media feeds.
And later, so what we have product for newsletter. It will be separate. So you manage newsletter there. We'll have product for design and stuff. It's also in progress. We'll have product for blogging. We'll have product for support. So that's like how Momentum will like fill these squares.
Yeah.
And that's how you mentioned. Yeah, it's all for like creating startups really quick. So you click button and everything is launched. Like, and you just go and talk to people and I don't know, selling stuff.
Yeah, and also, you know what? Even take it to the next level. You can have a marketplace, right? So Momentum is a platform, just like Vercel or some other SaaS platform. Oh, not SaaS, platform as a service. You can have a platform as a service with some other templates or marketplace that can easily connect to. But of course, you need to have some open APIs, so it's easier for it to integrate third-party tools. So you can like have some marketplace that people can contribute to. Just think about it as an open source community. People can contribute to this platform, and people can just select. Okay, I'm deploying, or I'm building, initiating a project using this template, right? Just like when I spin up a new website, I go to Vercel, the template place, and I search, browse, I found something close to my idea, I just click that, and boom, it's there. And then I build on top of that. So
I was thinking about it, but it's probably like a very like I was thinking about it. It's like as a long phase, but probably we can make it shorter. So what I'm thinking,
it might take. Yeah, I do agree. It's like it will be super exciting, but it might take years. So yeah, not pushing it right now.
So how I see it, it's like basically like marketing playbook or something. So for example, I can create I don't know certain rules that I use, like how I write landing pages, how I suggest to tweet how much per day, how I suggest to talk with the users. So basically, they start with like my templates, like you mentioned, and just edit them with their like things.
Yeah, I really like that. So for example, right now, even if I got some, because during our last conversation, you mentioned some kind of coaching thing, like building a sport team. I love it. I just love it because this is what I believe is the right way to do things, right? It's like building a sport team. You need a coach to guide you to do a lot of things, especially if it's for your first time. And like I think you have drafted the RUM book. What's that called? Some kind of things that we should do, like keep checking those checklists every day. So if we have some kind of virtual coach just telling me, okay, today, hey Yucheng, you forgot to do this. Please make sure this kind of nano grid or daily grid. Just keep doing them, building your muscle memories on that. That's super cool. Yeah.
And so that's another thing. As you understand, I will tell you. I think that's will be the ultimate secret. I hope we can do this during August, but I don't know if we will have people. But if we have all the content of some person or startup in one place, it's crazy thing. Like you can do like a really crazy stuff. So we'll start with my content. So because I own it, I can grab it from everywhere. And what we'll try to do is to create a chatbot out of me. So basically, like you said, so you can talk with me without talking to me. But it will be cool. It definitely will be cool. But what will be cooler if I talk to get QR? I can ask like how do you get users? What was conversion rate? Like what changed to improve conversion rate? Or like how much users did product hunt launch brought to you? Like something like that. And that's what will be crazy. But for that, we will need to like scrape or own this content. So that's the tricky part.
Yes. Yeah, actually, I'm thinking about similar idea. Just share my experience or my kind of idea plan for this. Like for example, right now I'm running the community, but more focusing on the Chinese speaking indie developers on Twitter. I'm thinking about building this kind of knowledge base and build a chatbot for that. So again, this is not something new, right? Right now, everyone's using chatbot. Even chatbot itself, there are maybe already dozens of, not hundreds of product out there.
Yeah.
But I think the point is, we are building some knowledge base that can be shared, and it can be, and we can establish some best practice and patterns for especially for those first-time builder or maker. Just to bring more people into this community, so we keep building up the momentum. And whatever technologies we can leverage to speed up, to scale, it's going to be helpful. Like chatbot is a very good way to a new technology to keep scaling it, to automating it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I also like that. So I don't like chatbots. So I don't use chatbots. Do you like use them a lot or not? Probably.
I use them a lot, but I think the paradox here is most of the time you need to understand it already to validate if the responses are correct. So that's the annoying part. You cannot trust the answers 100%. But that's just a separate story. Like the quality of the answers, how smart the bots are. This is like technical problems from my understanding. But from how we can leverage this tool to like boost our productivity, to automate the things we cannot automate before, that's a separate topic. So I'm trying to automate as much as possible. Again, this is nothing new. I can see a lot of people referring to this. Even for example, the Peter Level's book, The Make. I think there's a chapter or some part of the books literally emphasize the importance of automating everything. So if we can put this into our mindset, like even in the beginning, we don't automate it, but at least we kind of keep them automatable in the beginning. And and then if we talk back to momentum, I believe there are a lot of things that are repetitive that can be automated, that we don't need to dump engineering effort in the beginning, but we kind of keep the possibility there so we can automate a lot of things later. Like chatbots might be a way. Again, if you don't like chatbot, there might be a lot of other rule-based automation we can do. But it's too much. I don't think it's some topics we should cover today. It's just too in depth, too much details.
Yeah, I think it's it can be pretty useful. So I mean, it can become the main feature of Momentum one day. I mean, this chatbot and talking to startup or talking to people, because what it allows you to do, it's again monetize your knowledge, but you don't need to like all you need to share your content on the platform, and basically people can subscribe to your chatbot to ask questions to you or something. So it can be an interesting vector, like Patreon, but for startups. So I'm not okay. I'm sharing all the knowledge, but here is a simple way to access this knowledge, like through some technology.
Yeah. So chatbot is like, don't want to fancy it too much, but it's just a better or a more efficient way to collect knowledge. It's just a honestly speaking, I feel like it's just a more powerful search engine. But again, not something we want to cover today. I feel like we kind of got a little bit sidetracked on this. So if talk back to the Nano Fund.
Yeah. Okay. And so you suggested like to consider momentum for Nano. Okay. And so what would be your idea then? Like how do you say? Is it like so the way how momentum will evolve is like a bunch of micro products around it. Like you said, it's page for now, but it's not on the page. It's page, feed, and wave. Soon we will have like for emails. It will be one of the next. Because of your issue, we need to have like a good UI for that too. So probably like these micro products is the way, or like a simple Canva competitor. Like it will be the part of momentum one day.
Yeah.
What was the idea? Probably you had something interesting.
Okay. Yeah. First thing I want to ask is momentum self-sustainable? Meaning, is the momentum profitable by itself?
No. So it's not profitable at all. So it's not generating revenue by design. So it wasn't our goal.
Okay.
So it's our pipeline to have people to register it somewhere, and we don't. So we don't do any efforts in marketing, but people still continue registering. So I see that if we push the marketing, start writing about it, start writing about philosophy, I think it will grow far. But yeah. So we were playing this long-term game, but probably it's time to monetize. So that's what I'm thinking about. Probably it makes sense to monetize momentum like faster, because I was using it for tool to grow Nano, but I know.
Yeah, I feel a bit struggling on this because I can totally get it. Like momentum is a platform or it's infrastructure, and usually when we talk about investing in infrastructure, the infrastructure itself doesn't make you money, right? So infrastructure is enabling whatever gonna be built on top of it to be more sustainable, to be beneficial, more sustainable.
Okay.
And usually for this, just like if you want to build a cloud service, right? Well, sorry, not cloud service is a bad example, maybe.
No, it's actually a good example because I was thinking about it like an app store or like AWS with the products.
That's fair, yeah. Yeah, so those cloud infrastructures by itself, maybe itself is just costing money because you need to run it and need people to maintain it. But it's once, just like you build a highway and you charge a toll fee for the cars, but you need cars to run on top of it first. So you cannot say, okay, okay, this highway might take a long time to build. How can we monetize it for the first couple of years? It's hard. It's because we need a very big chunk of initial investment to just make it to make it attractive to new adoptions. But I think for momentum, you already have a quite good adoptions already, right? So this is I really hope momentum can be profitable in the beginning, because that basically means from end to end, this entire ecosystem is self-sustainable. But I can understand it's quite challenging.
No.
Yeah.
It's not that challenging, so it wasn't in our strategy, but now it can make sense. So it makes total sense to make profitable, let's say so, and it was in our strategy if we to make it fair, just because if we're building tools that are not profitable, there is a big chance that it will be not very good tools. So it's just an indicator. So if you can generate money, then the tool itself is cool. So that's an interesting criteria. So I would love for any tool in momentum to have even separate CEO if needed once it grow big, to separate it in other products. But yeah, so probably it's one of the things that we need to start monetize momentum. So I'll think about it. But I think it's a separate topic from Nano investment, because it make it even more complicated for people to understand.
Yeah, this is why I'm not super clear. And yeah, I'm not super clear. I don't have a clear, at least for myself, I don't have a clear idea on this either. Because on one hand, I feel like Momentum can be a good VC-funded project.
Yeah.
Because it's quite typical, right? You can make it free and acquire a lot of adopters
Yes.
in the early phases, keep burning money just to capture the market share. But on the other hand, Momentum is a platform that aiming at supporting indie hackers, which is following a very different pattern or mindset versus the traditional VC-funded startups. So I'm not trying to make these two ideas mutual exclusive. Maybe they can be like mutual benefit to each other and supporting each other. So I don't know like where the boundary is, but maybe Momentum itself is like more like a VC funded startup. Like we want to keep growing it very fast paced, so we can and keep it free, so we can and burning the fund in the first year, and so we can acquire as many adopters as possible. And in return, the investors will, of course, take a share of the this startup project. But for all these efforts are to enable the indie hackers in the future to build their indie projects, which are not, VC funded in the traditional way.
Yeah, it was also my vision. And from Stefan from Twitter, he always was asking me, dude, why talking about VC, but you're also talking with indie hacker? So it's always the trick. But we have a great example about it's microacquire because what he was telling and how he was building audience, you know it, right? So everyone knows Acquire now, right?
Is micro acquire VC funded or it's like bootstrapped?
Yeah, so it was bootstrapped, and he was talking a lot like bootstrap is the way, like it's the only way to grow startups. Like you don't need VC funding, and then like in a few months, yeah, we raised. I don't know what is gonna, but people like microacquire. I mean, nobody hates on them, right? So,
yeah. So I think that's realistically speaking, that might be. I'm afraid that might be the way Momentum will have to take if it pick up the speed, which I believe so. When it start picking up speed really fast.
Yeah.
So at that stage, it's just like if a tree grows super fast, it just cannot rely fully on its tree leaves to produce those ingredients. You need to feed it a little bit until it catch up the speed and grow enough to be more self-sustainable. So I on one hand, I love the idea like to have a bootstrapped self-sustainable system to support other indie projects. But on the other hand, especially as investors, we need to be realistic. So if VC fund is necessary, then we have to do it as well. Yeah, but again, it's your project. It's up to you. Yeah.
Oh, it makes a lot of sense. So basically, momentum was requirement for Nano to exist, because if we didn't have momentum, we wouldn't have our use case to show. So that's quite natural that what you're saying also makes sense. I think, but for you, okay, if you understand it so well, let me tell how I see momentum. So I see Nana as a momentum partner. That Nana just use momentum today, but tomorrow they can use other partners.
Yeah.
Probably because momentum will lose competition. So it's also important to not tie them together or like find a different way. So basically, it's now allows to collect the data, to show in one table, to provide the tools to build startups. But one day, Nano can just use different providers. They can say, just use Webflow and this, and no need for momentum anymore. So that's one thing. And another, I see momentum as a really like platform, like you say, infrastructure. It's a good word because I want people to use momentum to launch their kind of nano funds. So let's say somebody wants to launch a community or challenge with startups to gain 100 users in 1 month, and they want to collect money from people crowdfunding, and they want to distribute following some rules. I want like momentum to allow these like access rules, like so you can launch actually like your community, and you can use all startups that are already in momentum to engage with them somehow. So someone can suggest to like let's launch a program to sell your product on microacquire. Someone can suggest let's grow it, but my commission is X, my commission is Y. So uh, everyone basically use the platform to build their own stuff. But it's like
Yeah.
very, very long term, like you can get it.
Yeah, I think there are so many unknowns, or maybe even more unknowns. So let's take a step back and see what to do next this month,
Yes.
or this next, or in the coming 2 months, right? So what's the first found and the first project that we can make it successful, so we can make it kind of like a established pattern, some success story, case study, and then we do tons of marketing materials just to sell this idea. But we need at least one or two successful stories to
Oh
do
yeah.
this.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's good. So that's my commitment for this month. So I hope to release a website tomorrow, like starting from tomorrow. But that's exactly what you were saying. To showcase at least what we already done in Nano, to show people like what's going on, like the timeline, because we have stories starting from March. Like we can show like what we were doing.
Yeah, you have a batch of candidates of projects. Is there any good candidate you can see from it that has a biggest potential?
Yeah, so as for candidates, what I was planning to do is to announce the different challenge with the criteria like for new investors. So will be basically a different cohort of users, but likely it will be a lot of people who are already around us, because people asking us how to join and so on. We say just wait.
Yeah. Okay, here's the thing. This is the part I want to take a note, because for myself,
Yes.
for example, I want my QR project to be part of this. Not right now, because I didn't quit my full-time job yet, but maybe sometime next month.
Yeah.
So don't take it as commit. But for example, if I'm planning to really commit on this project, and I have, let's say, $10,000 I want to invest, I want to have half of them, like among these 10,000, I want to put 5,000 in my own project, but also spread the remaining 5,000 to other projects. So it's a perfect way to distribute my risk, right? So instead of putting 10,000 on my project alone, I can also, okay, let's say I'm trying to do some budget control and put maybe 5,000. For example, previously I have 3,000, 2,000 on marketing budget, but I cut it into trying to reduce it to one, like cutting half, and share the other half with other projects. So I'm trying to help them to make them successful, and vice versa, right? Maybe some other indie builders, they have like 10K to spare as a budget, but they kind of cut half, like half putting on their own, also share another half. So as a result, I'm still getting like 10,000 budget, but instead of having all this 10,000 from myself, 50% of them is from me, but another 50 is actually from this fund, and it's from other indie makers. So so it's like kind of hedging the risk of building your product. This is what make me feel better. But again, this is just what I'm thinking. Potential way of leveraging Nano Fund.
It's very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, sorry that yeah, we still like haven't answered to like your question, but you like gave me a lot of like answers for future, so it will make it clear. And just don't treat like this commitment as really like a big commitment. It's more like to start conversation, to find what is good for you. So this idea is very interesting. And what do you mean? So if you invest like this 10K and you say 5K goes to your project, what do you mean by going into your project, like as it's already your money?
Yeah, I know. I mean, this is purely from me as a builder perspective, right? I can say I don't want to join Nano at all. Right now I have like 10K spare money. I want to put all of them in my project, and I want to make it successful. Or I put 50% of it in my project, and another 50 for other indie makers projects. So this is how it's more like, okay, as an indie maker, I have this money. This is my money. How I want to spend it. This is a question for, I would say, all indie makers, right? If you have this money, if you have no money at all, it's a different story. Let's say if you have some money to bootstrap your own project, how you want to spend your money? Do you want to spend all your money in your project alone, or you want to hedge some risks here, right? To maybe put some allocation here. If you are very confident, you put 80%, and then you spare another 20% to other people's project. It's also both supporting them, but also it can gain you some rewards, benefits in the future. Maybe that's the beauty of investment. You don't know for sure, but it's investment. Or if you are kind of like, okay, I have enough money. I don't want to spend 80%. I just want to spend like 30%. For sure, I can put another 70%, which makes you more investor, less a maker. So it's like a 70% of my role here in this case. And everyone can be like that, right? We can even try to convince those indie makers who has been quite successful already to kind of put some fun on this, and we can use it as marketing material. But of course, we need to convince them first in the beginning, saying this is a way to not only to make you more successful as an investor, but also giving a chance to help growing the community. So it's like a win-win for both. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, very interesting. And I wonder how many people
Would like to do that, right?
resourceful thinking as you are, because it's like, okay, I have money. I'm not only risking but I also divide. So interesting, but probably it's the thing. I think to make it work, we should have something like service inside Nano. So if you put 5K, you can understand that you can, I don't know, click button and you will get something. I mean, we could sell like parallax services, but it should be like something from everyone, like marketplace. For example, you can like post like who can launch or build product for 3K, right? Like with this and that, like something like this.
Yeah, and also we can have some track record saying, if this builder, this indie maker has met, like, for example, like 70% of the commitments. 70% is already very good, honestly speaking. Like 70% of the commitment, and another investor only made like 50% of the commitments. So these two indie makers might be, I mean, the 70% commitment rate might be more attractive for potential investors, but it usually means it's more expensive to invest. So then we step into the traditional like evaluation topic, like how high value this, how much this company, this startup project worth. But it's a totally different story. You can make it public, right? Just like on those freelancer market, right? You can see people's rating. You can have investor rating, like right. So you can have like commitment rate, like how often, what's the percentage rate the makers meet their commitments, something like that. A lot of things can be made in public, and you can make it an open and free market. And yeah, but again, what we keep getting sidetracked is the vision or the potential is so big. I feel like I kept getting attracted by those things, but still we need to talk back to what we are going to do. And sorry for interrupting you again. Please go ahead and let's see what we are trying to achieve.
That's why we're here. Yeah, so you gave me a lot of things to think about, like namely, like probably even thinking about raising for momentum itself. It makes sense. So I'll need to think about this. But do you have something like from our side that we'll need to clarify by some date or something? Because I prefer to do it like how it goes and update you from time to time, because don't treat again like it's a hard commitment. So you will see the detailed thing like someday and you will decide to commit to not. But
Oh, you mean updating you as Yucheng or as an investor of Nano? Like
yes, yeah. I mean, yeah, as we've already discussed something, and you want to be like keep updated about something specific, we can do this. Like I don't know, or you want to give me a task, like Igor, bring like 5 investors during the next week to make me consider it. So if you have some requirements, like share it. But that I'm trying to figure out goals for August during this week and announce them in the end of the week. So that's one thing that I'm going to do. But other than that, I know. So the goal was to raise this 50K during August, but probably we can come up with a better goal.
Okay. I'm confident with you raising the money, but for me, the question
Why? Yes.
I want to get answered most is first how we can find the high quality projects, indie hacker projects, of course, indie maker projects.
Yeah.
And how long? It's basically the first question I asked in the beginning of this session. Do you have? If you don't, totally fine. Just let's spend maybe a couple of days or week to do some research and try to see if we can pick up a couple of high quality indie hacker, indie maker projects. And of course, we can talk to them, saying, we'll ask about their opinions. And do they need money? Maybe they don't need money. What if they don't need money?
Yeah.
So we're trying to find a match of, okay, first the quality of the indie maker projects, including indie maker themselves, are great. They do need some support. Investors are happy with, okay with allocating the fund to these projects. What criteria we need to convince that the investors are okay to invest this money, and what returns they will get, right? So if this, for example, this project starting to gain positive revenue, starting to be profitable for the first month, like what's the share? I've done this kind of experiment before. It's very little scoped, so that project's not super successful. But this is how I work with as an indie investor with another indie hacker. So he built a chatbot in Slack channel, and I kind of funded him not a lot, $1,000. And in return, we said in the beginning, before I make all my money back, I will get like maybe half of the revenue share. And once I make all my money back, I'm gonna gradually, maybe either month by month or quarter by quarter, I'm gradually decrease my revenue share to until like 20 or 15%. That was the plan. So I'm not sure if, for example, for Nano, is there any plan for this? Or I don't want equity. At least for me, maybe some other investors want equity. I don't want, because I don't feel it's useful at this current stage. And also, it's kind of, well, indie makers will feel different when they have 100% share of their product versus even if a teeny tiny bit, like 20% owned by other people. Like there's a very different, at least for me, there's a very different feeling out there. So I don't want to take share from the makers. But let's say if for me, one of the investors, I want to take revenue share. I want to in the beginning 50% for like until I get my money back, or at least I get 50% of my money back, something like that. We need some numbers. Whether these numbers gonna work or not, honestly speaking, don't care in the beginning. It's an experiment. It matters, but it's just an experiment. We are prepared to be failed, to fail. But if it works, it's gonna be awesome, right? So, and we can kind of keep 10x it in next couple quarters. I believe if we can prove it will work and can be repetitive, reproducible for at least a couple projects, I really see potential. We could keep 10x for next couple quarters. Yeah, just let's keep repeating, keep shipping the good things.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yes, and that's what we're also working on in parallel. So Clipwink is basically like the case study of like Nano framework. So it's something that we are doing ourselves.
Lara's project?
Yes, Lars, and what she done yesterday and she posted today, she done a detailed case study of what she did, like from the first day. Like we met, we did like UI prototype, what's next, like how to promote it, how she like shared. So it will be one of case study, but from our side. But my goal will be to find. So you will be definitely case study with Get QR because you already have a great pass. So we have few other projects in momentum. So I'll start showcasing them. As for like you mentioned, like detailed numbers. So exactly what I'm going to do, I'm going to speak both to indie hackers and investors, and also on Reddit, internet, to get their opinions, to understand what is this like sweet spot for them, like to consider what is the amount of money, what is revenue share, or is it like exit actually? Probably it is.
Yeah. I want to see those numbers. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, my goal will be to show you portfolio of this request in some case. So you can just see, okay, so we see these people with this request. That's the first part. But the second part, which is very important to me, that I will force these people like post daily in Twitter because that's the only way. Like that will be the requirement. Definitely, like if you accept money, first of all, you'll be required to post like months in advance to get this money, like to be totally transparent, because we don't want to like check in with you to see your progress. Like you need to build.
Yeah, that's from my perspective. It's one of the most important reasons that I want to do this for indie hackers. Because first, again, working together in the same geolocation is great, but there are a lot of opportunities like working remotely. But working remotely, there's a disadvantages, which is the communication cost, right? So, but if you are indie maker, you basically in charge of most of your things alone. We can cut off the overhead of the communication by a lot. So that's the beauty of it. So that's why I'm trying to at least convince myself, like, what if this project's growing bigger and bigger? If it's growing bigger, either we trying to find out an exit strategy, so they exit the Nano Fund project, or we help them to sell. But yeah, it's another separate story. And if we can, at least, for example, one of the Nano project, for example, GetQR project, if we can successfully sell it, I've got a couple of investors in the early phase reaching out to me asking about that. It's a good thing, right? People like it. So let's say, for example,
you can post about it and get more customers, right?
Yeah. Let's say, for example, if I starting to make it profitable, and just like all those projects listed on Microacquire, and if we can get it sold, this basically means this entire pipeline can work, right? Yeah, it works end to end, from entering to exiting. It's gonna be perfect. Yeah.
Okay, got it. Okay, so that will be my goal then, to show you the direction, to show you daily that I'm talking with more indie hackers and with more investors. Basically, that our plan become more clear with every day. But like once we are close to some decision, it will be definitely something more official that will say, okay, we'll figure out that. So let's do this on like 50% revenue share, like you said, for the 3 months. So it will be something specific, and let's see who we have at the moment, because it probably will be 10 people who already agreed on something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah, and as for time frame, so I'll be working actively on this in August. So again, like I hope to publish some like specific goals like by the end of this week or early next week, like to figure out what to do in August, like during this week, basically.
Sounds good. Yeah,
Yeah,
and maybe let's think again. Yeah, whenever you think you kind of get a rough shake of these numbers or plans, yeah, we can always chat on Twitter or schedule another meeting.
Yeah, cool,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, and I think we create something really new here. So we also need to educate people. So I'll write about this, like that. If you build a startup, it doesn't mean it should cost billion. It doesn't need to cost million. So you probably can sell it for 20K, and it's a great asset if you can do this. Like it's very difficult to build something for 20K. So I think we'll find these new ways to build startup, like not like for years, but like how to do it quick with what you have.
Yeah. And a separate topic. I think we are kind of clear with what we need to do next. So this is a separate topic. Like a lot of services, Momentum can provide, right? So for example, establishing help registering a company, right? So this is also something I want to offer for the community I'm building. So I'm about to introduce some payment plan, like premium membership tiers that offering some kind of these values, especially for people who are either, because a lot of them are in mainland China, and they are not very familiar with how to do all these playbook thing, right? So like, for example, how to get a credit card in US, how to register a company in US or in Singapore. You just need some guidance. And this thing, I think is a common pain point, because we don't want our indie hackers to get exposed to the, without any protection, right? Legalized. They need some protections as a company, as a proxy. It can be a one-man company.
Yeah. Definitely, yeah. That's what we were looking. I also wonder if they need to create a company for every product, and what will be the moment to create. But
definitely not. Yeah. So for example, I registered. This is my first time trying to do it on my own. I tried to use the Stripe Atlas to register a company. It's super straightforward. Like it cost me $500 in the first year, so it's very easy. It took me like less than 30 minutes.
It's a common price, right? It's $500 for this Delaware.
Yeah, it's a fixed rate. So yeah, again, but these are the things, like as a maker you might not want to think about. So if we have some common best practice, just blindly follow that playbook, you are good. Something like that. Yeah.
Interesting. And like if you think about like Facebook and Instagram, like people basically earn money without like interacting with without creating companies, or at least like, okay, it's company in some sense, but I mean, technically you can do something like that, right?
That's why I say it's a separate topic. I think it purely depends on the product you're building. So if you're just selling some very safe digital products, I think you are good. But there might be some products or some services related to like privacy or some secret data, whatsoever it is, it will make it a little bit trickier for indie makers to tackle themselves. And if they need some protections, like maybe the platform can provide them some protections. Again, nothing we want to dig right now. So right now, if the maker themselves directly get themselves exposed to the user, totally fine. That's my current status as well. But yeah, we'll talk about this later. We'll think about it later.
Okay, so I think we should wrap up. Probably just like in a few minutes. Can you tell like about your community and what's your goals? Just to understand what you're doing there. And you mentioned it has a lot of people already there, right?
Yes. So my end goal is free more people from. Actually, we have covered this during our first meeting, recorded meeting. I mentioned like a lot of people who are working as 9 to 5 are here, even if they have a goal to work independently as an indie maker and make their own life without depending on a big org. But that's here, and from here to here, they need some help to bridge the gap. So for my community, so this kind of help might be either knowledge gap, right? They just don't know. Once they know that, they can do that fast. Or it's financial gap. They need some financial support to be there, or something else. But there's a gap for a lot of people, and I want to free them so they can bridge the gap and reach the level they can work independently without depending too much on big institution, and they can be they can be more creative and do whatever they want to do. Live a more free life. That's my goal. It's quite straightforward, nothing too fancy. Yeah.
I mean, it's the same goal for me, so that's why I think we get along. So it's definitely the same thing. I mean, to like show people, like someone who deserves it, someone who wants it, like to show them the way, because it's really a knowledge gap in many cases.
Yeah, a lot of cases, knowledge gap. Yes, right.
Cool. Okay, that's cool. Also, you will keep us updated on Twitter, right? On community, or is it only for like Chinese speaking right now?
Yeah, right now it's mostly I have two Twitter accounts. I'm managing them separately, mostly because it's facing two very different group of
it makes
customers. Yeah. But I will let you know. Actually, I'm thinking about collaborating with Momentum. So yeah. So meaning we help them to kind of keep trying the same proven to be working best practices, like those grids list you mentioned.
Yeah.
Just keep doing that and leveraging Momentum to get early validation or raise funds on Nano Fund.
Nice.
And yeah, so this is what I'm thinking about in the long run. So I do feel there will be a lot of opportunities for us to work together on this.
Nice. Yeah, and we're definitely open. So any ideas, it will be super huge for Momentum. So let's keep in touch.
Yeah, I'm thinking about I think this is my last topic.
Yeah.
So Nano Fund organized activity is that like this May, right? So we have you guys have like 3,000 found, and for those ask those indie makers to keep posting updates and having a list of projects on the main page. So how that goes? Is that how did you organize this kind of events? Feels like it's a 30-day hackathon thing.
Yeah. So it was like the first, and we, basically with Nano we were pretty quiet for a few months. So we were focused on Parlact and bringing more people to Twitter. But yeah, the most active phase was in May when we onboarded these 20 startups. So it was it was a challenge type of thing. So everyone was required to post in public, like do it daily, to meet with other founders with the goal to set the goal for the month and report on the goal every week. And the goal should be related to traction numbers, like something abstract things. So it was only for one time in May. But even before May, we ran something pilot called Bootcamp. But let's say it started in May with 20 founders. We had a demo day. So it wasn't a fund back then. It was a prize. So it was 3K, but it turned out to be 6K, just a prize. So we rewarded 2 startups with a cash prize. And we onboarded 3 startups to build a beta for free. So we didn't take any equity after that. And in June, we built the beta for 4 startups. And in July, we onboarded 2 startups and we make an equity offer. It's 2 startups. It's Liproom and MudaHub. And we invest in these services. So we're building now their products. And in services, it's 60K and 3% and $2 million valuation. So it's 2 startups that we're building now, and we'll show them more like in the upcoming days. But basically, it's all started from 65 startups who applied in this make cohort. So out of 65, only 2 get funded from us.
Yeah.
And it's not cash yet, so it's services.
Yeah, because the reason I'm asking is I'm thinking about organizing a similar event to the Chinese speaking indie makers on Twitter, because there's a trend happening, but I just want to push it even harder. And I can see a lot of indie makers, although they are active on Twitter with a lot of followers, quite successful in all aspects, but somehow I just want to push them to follow our best practices. I believe it's gonna work for them. So I'm trying to attract more attentions, and this kind of activities will be super helpful for that, and for both for this trend, this community, and the indie makers themselves. So yeah, I'm thinking about either I organize it alone or I organize it together with you.
How's this?
But yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident in it, so I can tell you what is required to this. And I probably understand what you're talking about, like about best practice. So that's why we also create this playbook in Nano. So what I'm saying, we are checking like 3 fundamental traits: it's discipline, empathy, and consciousness. Because you can be a great maker, but if you're toxic to people, I don't want to work with you, and I don't want to have you around me. And the question is, who is toxic? Like, who decides? And so that's an interesting question, because community should decide, right? So they should do a vote. But you should have, I think, these defined rules that everyone should follow. Otherwise, it will be messy.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay, I'm open. If you need help, it's already easy for me, so I can help.
Cool. Sounds good. Yeah, I will let you know. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so thanks so much, Yucheng.
Do it in public. You have nothing to hide. Start using the internet. Join the ride.